My youngest cousin is the one who first found the portrait. He was exploring the house at night, as he often does when the family was gathered together, and he stumbled across it in one of his expeditions. The boy was frantic the next morning, wouldn't stop babbling about his discovery to everyone. Well, to us kids at least. He didn't tell the adults. I think he was afraid of getting into trouble. It's a massive house, and Granny always told us not to wander around, especially on the upper floors. He's been a bullshitter all his life, so you'll forgive me for initially disregarding his claims as nonsense. I just rolled my eyes and went back to my book. My sister and my other cousin were playing Mario Kart, and barely even registered him at all. But he kept insisting. Kept waving around his hands and getting all up in our faces. He swore on his life, that he was telling the truth. And doubt started to set in. I admit I was curious. We all were. A little. So, after an impassioned plea for support, we caved. And to Mason's glee, we came up with a plan. A plan that would involve waiting until all the grown-ups had gone to sleep, then sneaking out of our rooms to find this supposed bleeding portrait. So this is where we find ourselves now. My sister and I had flashlights in hand, sneaking out of our room and down the corridor to knock on our cousin's door. We should be okay. The adults' rooms are on the opposite side of the house, but you never know who could be up and around. We don't need to knock in the end. The door is slightly ajar, and with a quiet push and a soft creak, we head on in, to reveals the boys all ready and waiting for us. Mason is whispering excitedly to his brother, who tries and fails to hush him repeatedly. "Okay, guys," Mason says to us. "Are you ready? Flashlight's off for now. Come on, let's go." And he pulls open the door, and sneaks off into the dark. Exchanging glances, we click off our lights and follow. Our grandma's house is so big that there are multiple sets of stairs for each floor, and we creep towards the back of the house to a set of stairs that's rarely used. Less chance of bumping into one of our parents or aunts or uncles. I can hear the faint sounds of snoring echoing from far down the corridor. The stairs seem much taller at night, and we look up at it nervously. Heart's pounding with the thrill of doing something you're not supposed to do, beneath the added excitement and mystery of the veil of darkness. Heavy and deep-colored steps ascend into the gloom. The infamous forbidden floors lie above. I'm scared, Charlotte," my sister whispers to me, clutching my sleeve. But I shush her, and tussle her hair. Mason tiptoes onto the lowest of the steps, and up he climbs. He's done this before, supposedly. But for us, this is a venture into the unknown. Up we go, slowly, carefully, step by shaky step. Molly, my sister, clutching tight to my hand, Mason leading the way, and my other cousin, Ethan, close beside. The stairs led us to a corridor of thick shadowed and watchful furniture. Towering cupboards stand maliciously on either side as we make our way through it. Portraits of figures unknown stare down at us from their perches above. "Which one of them is bleeding, Mason?" I whisper. None of these. We have to go a little further," he replies. So we pass the paintings by. There are no windows up here, in this hidden section of the house. But the wind whistling beyond the walls is loud and close enough to send a second-hand shiver rippling right through me. The portraits look down at me, with warning in their eyes. I look away. "Here, check it out," Mason whispers, and leads us abruptly to the right, into a long, narrow corridor, with nothing on the walls at all. No windows, no doors, except for one, old and cracked, at the very far end. "What the fuck, bro?" Ethan mutters, and I smack his arm lightly for swearing. He winces, but speaks on. "You came up to this place all by yourself? What's wrong with you?" Mason only grins. I ain't chicken, Ethan. That's all. Come on, this way. And he clicks on his flashlight as he leads us down the corridor. We do the same. The shadow that Mason casts is flickering and long, and shadows up the walls, distorted by the ceiling as he walks. The door, as we approach, is a dark, brown-black wood, but it's unlocked, so Mason tucks his flashlight under the arm and grabs the handle with both hands, and eases it open. We cringe in panic as a long, slow creak reverberates through the walls. But we hear nothing else still below. Only the faintest hint of the wind outside, now almost imperceptible. So we head inside, one by one into the room. The walls are black, windowless, and the room is full of wooden chairs, all stood upright but facing a myriad of directions, with no cohesion or order in their placement. Two identical dark wardrobes stand against the walls, one to my left, one to my right, facing each other. And an old gas lamp sits on a little round table in the corner, beside a collection of coasters, and an old matchbox. The far wall is bare, except for a single item. A lone framed portrait, right in the center. A painting of a grimacing old woman. The shadows placed across her face make her wrinkles seem greater and deeper. "This is the one," says Mason excitedly, in a low voice, gently pushing aside the chairs as he makes his way across the room. Every step closer to that ghastly painting, I feel the dread within me grow. My sister clutches to me a little tighter. "Charlotte," she whispers, but her voice sounds as if it's coming from far away. Mason halts at the back of the portrait, looking up at it, and the rest stand behind him, a few places back. We stare at it in a contemplative, cold silence. Then Mason swivels on the spot, loudly clapping his hands, and the spell is broken. We jump back in fright. "Fuck's sake, Mason," Ethan mutters, and I'm a little too rattled to chastise him for it this time. I just let the fear wash over me and try to bring myself back into the moment. "Weird, right?" Mason asks, rhetorically, scratching his chin and looking back to the painting, casting his light across it. "All by itself in this old room. And it kinda looks like Grandma, don't you think?" I chew my tongue. I study the grimacing old woman, lips pressed tight. It does look a bit like her, actually. Not identical, but similar enough for a resemblance. "It's supposed to be her, don't you think?" I asked the group. "Maybe that's why she hid it away. 'Cause she was embarrassed by it and didn't want anyone to actually see it?" suggests Ethan. "I don't know," I reply. "Wouldn't she have just thrown it away if she didn't want it? Why would she bother with hanging it on the wall? She didn't even lock the door." "Oh, the door was locked," replies Mason, matter-of-factly. And, for reasons unknown to me, a wave of goosebumps shiver across my skin. "What do you mean locked?" asks my little sister. He shrugs. "Pretty self-explanatory. I had to pick the lock. Wasn't hard. I've been practicing." "So we're not even supposed to be here at all then?" I ask him, glancing up to the painting. "Maybe we should go." "No, wait, look. I haven't shown you the bleeding yet. That's why we're here." Mason steps closer to the painting, and reaches out a hand to the wall, tracing his fingers across the surface just below the painting's frame. He pulls back and shines the flashlight over his skin. I squint as the light passes my field of vision, but lean closer, peering at his hand. The fingertips are marked with a sticky dark red substance, like sap, tar, or blood, he whispers. Ethan clicks his tongue and shakes his head. "That isn't blood, you dope. It's just wall residue or something. Wall residue? What the hell is wall residue? Mason replies. I sigh and look away, glancing back up at the horrible painting. I look at the old woman's eyes, the white still visible above her irises. Her teeth, yellow and cracked, are stretched into a wide grin. Teeth, grin. I cry out in sudden alarm, a gasp of genuine horror that the conversation in the room is silenced at once. Buds of sweat begin to form down my back. Guys? I whisper, struggling to get out the words. The woman in the painting... She wasn't smiling a minute ago, right? You couldn't see her teeth? No? Ethan replies back with a croak, as we stare at the portrait. No, she wasn't. Guys, I think we need to go, I stammer, retreating backwards through the room, heart pounding and pulse racing feverishly, as the chairs are pushed away, scraping across the wood. The others do likewise, and we bump as a group back against the door. Only it's closed now. I don't remember closing it behind us. And I couldn't find the handle. I scramble for it madly, fearful to take my eyes away from the painting, but unable to locate it. I'm eventually forced to do so, and it isn't there. The handle is gone. Where is it? I hiss. Where is it? There, cries Molly, pointing up. It's up there. And looking up, sure enough, the handle can be seen. It's moved, right at the very top of the door, and well beyond our reach. The floor creaks. We spin back around as one to face the portrait, flashlight beams cast upon it. But the portrait is empty. The frame holds nothing but a dark and unoccupied painted scene. And for a moment, there was silence.